Ways a government can divide and conquer its citizens. 1. Identity politics and social division. This involves emphasizing group identities, race, religion, class, culture, over shared national or civic identity. Promoting racial and ethnic tension. Scapegoating. Blaming a specific ethnic or immigrant group for economic problems, e.g., they are taking your jobs, or they are draining public resources. This redirects public anger away from government policies or economic elites and towards a vulnerable minority. Differential treatment. Implementing policies that explicitly favor one ethnic or religious group over others, creating a hierarchy of citizenship and fostering resentment among both the favored and disfavored groups. Exploiting class resentment. Pitting the poor against the poor, framing welfare recipients as lazy or cheats who are supported by the taxes of the hard-working class. This prevents lower and middle-income groups from forming a united front around common economic interests like fair wages or healthcare. Protecting the elite. Using rhetoric that glorifies the ultra-wealthy as job creators who should not be taxed or regulated heavily, while simultaneously cutting social programs for the poor. This maintains the economic status quo by keeping the classes divided. 2. Control of information and media. A populace that cannot agree on basic facts is easy to divide. State-controlled media. In authoritarian states, the government directly owns or heavily influences major media outlets. They use them to broadcast propaganda, create a constant sense of external or internal threat, see number 4, and present the leader as the sole protector of the nation. Cultivating media echo chambers. In more democratic systems, governments can play to media bias, leaking to friendly outlets, providing exclusive access or information to media outlets that are politically aligned with them, ensuring a positive spin. Dismissing critical media, labeling any negative or critical reporting as fake news, attempting to destroy its credibility. This encourages citizens to only trust sources that affirm their pre-existing beliefs, creating two separate realities. Flooding with misinformation. Overwhelming the information space with conspiracy theories, bots, and contradictory stories. This leads to general confusion and apathy, making it easier for people to disengage and for the government to act without scrutiny. 3. Political and partisan polarization. Turning political opposition into existential conflict. Gerrymandering. Redrawing electoral district maps to create safe seats for one party. This makes politicians less accountable to the general public and more accountable to their party's base, which is often more extreme. This pushes both parties to the polls and eliminates compromise. Obstructing compromise. Portraying any negotiation or bipartisan compromise with the opposition as weakness or treason. This makes governance impossible and keeps the focus on the evil of the other side rather than on solving problems. Voter suppression. Enacting laws that make it harder for certain demographics, who typically vote for the opposition, to vote. This can include strict voter ID laws, closing polling places in certain areas, and purging voter rolls. This signals to one group that their voice matters and to another that it does not, deepening division. 4. Creating a culture of fear and perpetual crisis. A frightened population is more compliant and looks to strong leadership for protection. The us versus them narrative, constantly identifying an internal or external enemy that threatens the nation's way of life. This could be an external boogeyman, a rival nation, globalists, or international organizations. An internal enemy, political opponents, activists, intellectuals, or specific religious groups. Securitization and surveillance. Justifying the expansion of domestic surveillance powers by citing the constant threat of terrorism, crime, or civil unrest. This not only increases government control, but also makes citizens suspicious of each other. Crisis exploitation. Using a real crisis, a pandemic, a terrorist attack, a natural disaster, to implement policies that would be unacceptable in normal times, often with the message, if you question this, you are endangering everyone. 5. Economic manipulation. Using economic tools to create dependency and fracture solidarity. Crony capitalism, granting lucrative government contracts, tax breaks, and regulatory favors to politically connected corporations. In return, These corporations may support the government through positive media coverage or lobbying. This creates an elite class that is separate from the struggling populace. Divided subsidies and benefits. Providing economic benefits, subsidies, or tax cuts to one specific group, e.g., a certain industry, union, or region, while excluding others. This encourages groups to fight each other for government scraps rather than question the system distributing them. Why this strategy is effective, the conquer part. Prevents unity. It is impossible for a divided populace to organize effectively to challenge the government's power or demand systemic change. Redirects anger. Public frustration is directed horizontally at other citizens instead of vertically at the leaders and institutions in power. Creates dependency. By positioning itself as the only force that can protect Group A from Group B and vice versa, the government makes itself appear indispensable. Simplifies control. Managing many small, conflicting groups is far easier than managing a large, united, and organized citizenry. In summary, the divide and conquer playbook involves fragmenting national identity, controlling information, fueling partisan hatred, maintaining a state of fear, and manipulating the economy to ensure no broad coalition can form to hold the government accountable. The most effective implementation of this strategy makes the divisions feel natural and organic, so the public doesn't realize it's being manipulated.